Hi folks, it's been a while since I've done a update of sorts for all my painting. I have been away. It's up in North Wales. Had a bit of a mini family holiday. I know it's still in the same country, but I really like going up to North Wales, up to the Snowdonia Mountains we tend to go. And you're close to the sea, which I do think I'm a fan of of just being near the sea. I do really like that. And seeing all the castles up there. Yeah, there's a lot of history and it's really good walking country. I do like, I don't know if you'd call it hiking, but just sort of rambling, I suppose, is the correct word for it. And it's always nice when you come home to some parcels and supplies. I picked up some different paints. I saw on the Silver Whistle Wargaming blog that for the Zulu War, which is a leather, was more this Vallejo colour is called red leather, and I thought that was quite close. So I wanted to try and achieve that, and it's always going to be handy for dark age leather, or it's quite close to, it's quite different to saddle brown, which is a paint I had to pick up to get another pot of that, because I'd gone through that. I've started using it as my Bugman's Glow, my first layer of flesh, so I tend to get through that. No. But I thought red leather would be really close to it, but it's not. Saddle brown's stupid thing to say, but it is very much a brown. And yeah, that looks really nice. Anyway, a medium flesh tone. I think that's your kind of Middle Eastern flesh, really. That's a medium flesh tone is a nice way to put it, I suppose. You have to be careful with these things. I'm just trying to pick up as many flesh paints as I can. And going over to Vallejo. All my paints are Vallejo now, except for the Army Painter Quick Shades. I don't really begrudge buying matte black from Army Painter, that's fine. But yeah, let's just briefly look at the Vallejo paints that I've got stocked up now. So I'm fairly well supplied. I've got the Blood for the Blood God paint, but I think that's the only thing that I don't have as a proper Vallejo paint. Yeah, I don't think anyone else does that yet. But I can always sort of decant it into a squeezy bottle because I like having everything on the rack that are just fitting in nicely. Lamium medium, I found out that something called Flow Improver is essentially the same thing. It's taken me a while to get around to that, but it does work really nicely. I was using it earlier to thin down some of my matte black, which is starting to get quite thick in the bottle. I don't know if it's sort of drying out, but this just gave it a bit of life, and what I've done there is just put it into a clear bottle and marked it. So I've got a little squeezy bottle rather than accidentally pouring half a litre of the stuff on my palette. And I thought that would be a nice colour for some chieftain's cloak. And I noticed that I don't have some of the more vibrant colours because all my collections are greys and beiges and browns. I've actually got not many of the primary colours really. And 200 is all going into the sort of high volume thing, I think. Just conscious of buying these tiny bottles, getting through them, so I've got 250 mils of CP wash, which is meant to be really good. And the reason I got the Flow Improver wasn't actually just to thin my paint. I was going to use it with my Burnt Umber acrylic tube. And on the Silver Whistle blog, he was saying how he goes about painting his his Zulu war stuff. That he was using Flow Improver and water to an artist acrylic. You could use, Mars Black for a black wash or Burnt Umber for a brown wash. I'm sure you could do the colours as well. Like yeah, I'm rambling. Sorry. So that's going to be another way for me to make my own wash. I think they're going to be different though. Sepia, I know I use a lot of brown wash, but the idea with the Flow Improver then is that I can make my own Mars Black wash and things like that. That's your equivalent of your Nuln Oil or Dark Tone, just mess around with stuff. I know where I am with painting, I'm comfortable with highlighting, so washes are just something I can mess around with, I think. To try and get some different effects on whites, and if I was doing some Afghans I could mess around with that and try and get different effects. But within a battalion I'd like to stick to one type, one different shade. At the back there, so sorry that you haven't seen any figures yet. I won't show you all the figures I've done in the last few days since coming back, but I've probably prepped and primed definitely 100 figures. It's just an effort to get through my lead mountain. The Fallschirmjäger I've been priming black, so I cleaned up a platoon of Fallschirmjäger from Warlord Games. They're nice metal ones. They're not recent scouts, I think they're Paul Hicks ones. I've got a double batch of those, so well, I've only done one lot now. I don't think I can face doing like 70 odd of them. But the matte black that I use, the primer I use, isn't very good. It doesn't seem to cling to metal. Metal I do find a bit difficult to prime anyway, but what I've been doing is just going once over with a pot. Like these now, I think I went light grey over. I've got Vallejo light grey, which is a colour match for a lot of grey primers. If it's not a perfect colour match, you can just add a little bit more grey or a little bit more white as you see fit. I think it's a nice base and it's not white, so paints tend to cover grey better than white, and grey is better than black as well. I find with white, it's if you've used a white primer, it's, well, trying to get dark colour, it's difficult to get a good coverage with a dark colour over a white primer, and it kind of works the same in the other way. So yeah, grey primer is where it's at for me at the moment. I've gone in doing the metal work first here, just because it's my most dreaded thing, and I feel like I've done half the work once I've done the muskets. It isn't, it's just in my head it is. So what I'm trying to do is, well, I've done as much of the black areas as I can on these Fusiliers, the Foundry French Napoleonics. I've done boots and shakos, and I did an initial base coat on the muskets, but then did the non-metallic method for painting, which I've seen on maybe Leon's channel or one of the Napoleonics guys. Their stuff is really good, but I'm not amazing at remembering exactly which one of them it is. I get confused because I think there's two or three guys who do mainly Napoleonics on YouTube, and I do get a little bit confused. But yeah, the non-metallic method I do like. I've just gone off it for a bit now, but it's nice to have it for when you need it. You know, I didn't want to paint metallics today, so I just went here, and they've had 3 different layers of grey. Neutral grey, blended with just neutral grey first, then blended with light grey, then finishing with light grey, all dry brushed on. Obviously brass I'll have to do separately, and I've not done non-metallic brass at all. I've just done it for steel and gunmetal. So I've got just the sort of line Fusiliers here. I was doing some research when I was having my tea, just looking at the different packs of Napoleonics that Foundry do, and it's just endless, because they do full dress and campaign dress, and of course they do early, mid and late uniforms, so it's just a bit of a minefield if you're painting Foundry figures for the first time, but they're really nice, great variety. With these ones I'm going to do a firing line. I hope you can see the poses. Firing and just sort of standing at ease. There's even some loading figures. I've got the command officer and flag bearer at the back there. There's 1 or 2 broken bayonets, but I'm not going to fuss too much. I might even end up painting these for myself. It's nice to have just a regular infantry battalion. I didn't really realise until today how late the bicorns were used. Like I think Austerlitz. Um, I know that's not, well, it depends what you call early, mid, and late. I know that it's early mid, but I didn't realise how, I don't know, how late bicorns were used. I sort of had envisioned that was more the Revolutionary Wars, but it seems they were quite comfortable to wear. The soldiers liked to wear the bicorns, and they were used a lot on the campaign drill. And they seem to have been used at Austerlitz, and that was the uniform of the day. Whereas I had sort of envisioned them to be all wearing shakos and the more sort of mid to late war uniform, but I was completely off basically. But still a lot of research to do. These are going to be done in dark blue. You might not see it yet, but that's gonna. I've just gone over with sort of sky grey or something. What's it called? Silver grey, mixed in with a bit of a light grey as a base coat for the white areas, and some tidying up. But Shako and boots have had a black grey dry brush. Blended in just a little bit of black to the black grey, because if you go up to black grey, it can go up to the actual colour of grey really fast. And flesh to do next. I'm going to do companies. So I've got 1 company, 2 company, 3, 4, 5, 6. I only need 4 companies if I need Voltigeurs and Grenadiers on top of this, which I do have primed up. So 2 of these companies can be split off to form bases of another battalion. So I'll paint up everything now, and from this I can get a full battalion and a half, and tomorrow I'll finish off the figures that I primed this morning from the pot. Oh, sorry, Vallejo finish it off, and make a start on those as well. Once the flash is done of these, it'll feel like I'm well on the way. I'll have more to show in the next few days. I'll catch up with you again soon, folks. Ta-da.